All right, everyone. We are 9 weeks away from the NFL season officially starting. That means the Eagles are going to play the Washington Commanders in just a little over 2 months. So I wanted to come on here today and preview the Eagles 2026-2027 starting offense. We're going to talk about every player that I believe will make the team and be a starter. We're going to talk about how I think things are going to change with the scheme, and we're going to talk about what this offense is going to do and what it's going to look like. This is a big change for the Eagles offense. Really, since they got A.J. Brown, it's looked the same. They've gone through, different offensive coordinators, but this is a whole new offensive system. So, let's get into this. So, I'm not going to talk about like Carson Steele or Danny Gray. Like, I'm not going to talk about some of these guys that I don't think are going to be starting players, but this isn't like a roster preview type of thing where it's like, oh, I think this person or that person's going to make. We're not going to really focus on that. We're going to focus on the guys that I think are going to be starting on the offense, making the team, and being contributors. You can see that with the offensive line. Like, I don't want to talk too much about the depth. I kind of just want to talk about the guys that are going to be starting and making those immediate impacts. So I made, I'm not the best at graphic design, okay? So I pulled up a notepad here and put everybody down that I think will make the team and be a starter. And then I have them pulled up here. We'll talk about each one as we go along. But obviously the Eagles retain head coach Nick Sirianni. Hopefully he has absolutely no control of the Eagles offense this season. I'm all the way out on him ever calling plays or ever designing plays or ever being a part of the Eagles offense ever again. 2021 told me that. 2023 told me that. 2025 really told me that, because I don't want this guy anywhere near any offensive scheme whatsoever. He sucks at it. He is terrible at it. I'm good. There was a world where this dude was almost fired in 2021, in 2023, in 2025. Guess why? What correlations can you make between those two topics I just brought up, and the different years and the different involvements Nick Sirianni had in the offense? Just think about that for a minute. But what really matters is Sean Mannion coming in to be the Eagles offensive coordinator. Now, this is a pretty big change. Pretty much the entire time Jalen Hurts has been the quarterback, it's been that, that Andy Reid shotgun heavy RPO offense that, Nick Sirianni was part of that system. Obviously, Frank Reich above him at one point from that system. Shane Steichen, bringing in people that ran that. And then you brought in Kellen Moore, who was a little bit different, but still incorporated those aspects into the offense. And especially at the end of the season when the Eagles put up the most points in playoff history and destroyed the Commanders and destroyed the Chiefs in a Super Bowl. But this is the first time they've radically changed their system and their scheme. You're going from that to the Matt LaFleur, obviously the Sean McVay offensive system, and this is something that I don't believe Jalen Hurts has ever ran before. I mean, we'll pull up Jalen really quick because, these things go together, right? Obviously, he's the starting quarterback this year. This is a significantly different offense than I think he's really ever ran before. With this LaFleur system, the Sean McVay system, it's going to be under center. It's going to be play action. It's going to be a lot of motion. It's going to be outside zone runs. It's going to be targeting the middle of the field a lot more. It's going to be more control pre-snap, which Jalen Hurts is very good at when he's actually given control of the line of scrimmage like he was in 2024. He's really good at it. Really good at changing plays, reading defenses. Pre-snap, he's very good at it, and he's never gotten any credit or recognition outside of Eagles fans for doing that, who actually bring it up, like myself, who saw it happen with our own two eyes, and this is a lot different, and I think this is a system that he can do very well in. This is a more friendly system. If you pull up a lot of stats for Jalen Hurts throughout really his entire time of being a starting quarterback for the Eagles, they routinely ask him to make very difficult throws into unbelievably tight windows. They don't scheme guys open for him. They rely heavily on, players winning one-on-ones. They ran a ton of RPOs. They ran design QB runs. Like, you can still have all that stuff, but this is a system that's kind of getting away from that. It's more quarterback friendly. It gives the quarterback more freedom and more control. It's more complex, right? Obviously, more complex, but I think this is a good thing, and I really do think Jalen is going to succeed in this offense. I don't see why he wouldn't. Finally, for the first time in 6 years of him being a quarterback, will he have an offense where, a lot of the burden can be taken off of him? You can talk about the players around him all you want. I mean, when, you're asking your quarterback routinely to make really, really difficult throws, like the Eagles have asked of Jalen Hurts, not giving him a ton of options, not giving him motion, all these things that these offenses that they've tried to run just haven't had. You have a disaster like last year where it just all falls apart. It totally falls apart. And, I think there will be growing pains. I don't expect Sean Mannion to come in and have this perfect day one. You saw it in 2024, those first 4-5 games, 6 games of the season, they were rough. There were rough moments, but there were flashes of brilliance in there, obviously. And games where they put up a ton of points, but there's also games where they got, worked and couldn't score and had issues in the first quarters of games. So I think you'll see growing pains, but I think this is a welcome change. This is a lot different. You're getting away from that AJ Brown, reliance on him and Devontae Smith winning one-on-ones, and you're getting towards a scheme where, they're going to hammer the ball on the ground, obviously, but they're going to run play action off that. They're going to give Hurts easier reads, give him, things that are just way more quarterback friendly. And I'm very excited to see that. I think he will be different next year. I think it's a different Hurts that you're going to see that you haven't really been used to seeing. I think you're going to see a Jalen Hurts that trusts what he sees, that attacks over the middle of the field a lot more, and he's very good at attacking the middle of the field, but you're going to see him do it more, and I'm very excited to see it. If we look at his numbers from last year, 65% completion percentage, 3,200 yards, 25 passing touchdowns, only 6 interceptions, 98.5 rating, 105 carries, 421 yards on the ground, 8 touchdowns on the ground. Not his best season, obviously stats-wise, but you go back, you watch the film, you watch that disaster of a system, you watch the horrible offensive line play pretty much all season, you watch, freaking curls and comeback routes, you watch them run 4 verts with the season on the line, you watch so much poor play calling, and there's been a lot of it since he's been the quarterback on this team, really outside of Shane Steichen and Kellen Moore. Very, very shoddy play calling. And you watch a disaster last year, and it was honestly a miracle that he could even complete a pass because of how bad that scheme was, how little separation some receivers were getting. I'm not going to sit here and drag on AJ Brown because that's done and over with, but, you're going to see a different Hurts, and I'm very excited to see what that looks like. This could be a deadly offense with what they're going to run. I'm very excited to see them finally, run a different system. It's going to be very refreshing. I expect a very good season out of Jalen Hurts, who will be, obviously, the QB1. Moving on to running backs. Obviously, this is headlined by none other than Saquon Barkley. I think Tank Bigsby should be the running back 2 next year. And I think they usually keep 3 running backs. God damn it. Will Shipley is probably going to make this team. He's cheap. He's, young, I guess. He's been on the team. I don't really see anybody else. I mean, if we pull up just the depth chart for running back, I don't see anybody else making it. I mean, Dameon Pierce, I really doubt makes an NFL roster outside of his rookie season in 2022. This guy's been hot ass. I'm going to keep it real. Elijah Mitchell, also hot ass. It's going to be Will Shipley. If you've been watching this channel, or ever clicked on my Twitter, you know how much I hate. We'll get to Will Shipley. You know how much I don't like Will Shipley. I don't think he's very good, but Saquon Barkley looking to have another very good season. Put up 1,140 yards last year, 7 touchdowns. I guess that's a down year, technically. It was still a good year for him. 6th in carries. Still top 10 in rushing yards in the NFL. The offensive line was really bad last year and really banged up and really hurt. And them spamming inside zone and inside zone and inside zone and just spamming the same run plays didn't work. They really did struggle to run the ball on a consistent basis last year. A lot of that was scheme too. So you're going to see a different Saquon next year. You're going to see a Saquon running outside zone, getting outside the tackles, hopefully having more space to operate. And where I really want to see Saquon get more opportunities is out of the backfield, right? It's out of the backfield. Only 273 yards receiving last season. I feel like they've always underutilized running backs as receivers. In the Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni era, is a little bit of that on Jalen. Yeah, he doesn't like to check the ball down. He's gotten better at that, but there's going to be more outlets. There's going to be motion. You can get Saquon out there moving, get him in free, easy release or something. Get him the ball receiving. I think, I still think there's a lot of gas left in Saquon Barkley. I still think he can go out there next year. And I mean, you look at some of the seasons, Christian McCaffrey puts up on the 49ers, right? Obviously, that's a McVay offense with Shanahan. You see the seasons that Kyron Williams has put up. He's been very good. Josh Jacobs has been very good. Running backs do thrive in that offense. I think Saquon can very easily put up 10 touchdowns, 1,500 yards on the ground, maybe another 400-500 in the air, and have another monster season. I don't see why not. They're going to be committed to hammering the football on the ground, and it should be a lot more successful. If you look at the success rates last year for the run game, horrible. It didn't matter if you put out 2012 Adrian Peterson out there behind that 2025 Eagles offense. Nothing was overcoming Cam Jurgens and Landon Dickerson getting absolutely blown off the line every single play. And I'm really excited to see Saquon have a season where he's not getting instantly tackled in the backfield, because every nose and defensive tackle knows exactly what play's coming because it's inside zone, right? So very excited to see Saquon Barkley. I don't want to say bounce back because I think that's a disingenuous way to put it, but have another big monster season and just, continue to solidify himself as one of the best backs in the game and one of the best players in the NFL. I mean, this is somebody that I'm not worried about whatsoever next year. I think Saquon is going to be very good and have a very good season. And then we have the running mate behind him, somebody who started getting some more steam at the end of the season, wasn't getting a ton of carries earlier on when they traded for him from the Jacksonville Jaguars and used him as a kick returner, which didn't work at all. Then they actually started giving him some carries. I think some people in the fan base do kind of gas up Tank Bigsby a little bit more than they probably should. Like, I see some people are like, oh, he could put up 1,000 yards next year. It's like, God, probably calm down on that. I think Tank Bigsby works very well as that change of pace back. Take Saquon out to get him a breather, put Tank in. This is a powerful runner. This is somebody that can hit a hole and hit a hole hard. And we all know what happens when you hit a hole good and hard, right? Good things happen, okay? Good things happen when you get right up there in a hole. And I think Tank Bigsby does that very well. Absolute, just power back. Not your greatest receiver. Don't throw a football near him. But, this is somebody that can, come in and lay out some punishment. And I think him being a 1-2 punch with Saquon, it is something to look forward to. 63 carries, 356 yards, 2 touchdowns last season. Really only played half the year. I think this is someone that could pretty easily put up 500-600 yards next year, 5, 6, 7 touchdowns next season. Somebody, 5.7 yards per average. Somebody who can just come in, rip off 6, 7, 8 yards as a change of pace to give Saquon Barkley a breather and be an effective part of this offense. Really excited to see Tank Bigsby next year. Just a fun guy to root for, too. I mean, the guy's name is freaking Tank. Don't you want to run through a wall for this guy? Then we get to Will Shipley. Again, I think he just makes the team out of pity. This guy was... this man was ass last year. They were like in the beginning of the season, they were like committed to trying to use Will Shipley, and they tried to use him as a receiver earlier in the season. I was never a fan of Will Shipley in college. Didn't think he was a great runner. I don't think he has great power. Almost no vision. The speed, pretty mediocre. Not the best receiver. I mean, he's probably better as a receiver than a runner. I just don't think he does anything very well. I didn't like him in college. I didn't like when the Eagles picked him. Outside of that run in the 2024 NFC Championship game against the Commanders, hasn't really done anything in the NFL. Not exactly a pass protector. So this is somebody that, I mean, hopefully doesn't get many carries. Doesn't hold on to the ball very... Just doesn't fucking do anything, okay? Will Shipley just isn't good at football. I'm sorry. If you're watching this, Will Shipley, thanks for the ring, okay? Number one, thank you for that. But, man, I really want to see Tank Bigsby actually get some goddamn carries over Will Shipley, because we had that problem last year. I hope we don't have it again this year. Now we get to the big change, which is the wide receiver core. So, obviously, Devontae Smith is your number one receiver. Mekhi Lemon, I do think, will be the number 2 pretty early on. Wicks will be your 3. And then this is where things get, I guess, dicey or up in the air. And I've seen a lot of people talk about this. I think Hollywood Brown is your 4th receiver. I think he does make the team, and I think he does stand as their deep threat. And then, I don't really know for the 5th spot. I gave it to Darius Cooper because he has some size, kind of. He can do some dirty work. He could block. Kind of just does a little bit of everything, dirty work-wise. He's cheap. He's a nice story. I think that does enough to keep him on the team over someone like Johnny Wilson, who's coming off an injury. I don't know if Britton Covey makes the team. I think you can have Hollywood Brown. I spelled Hollywood wrong. That's pathetic. There we go. Whoa, hit my mic. Oh my god, what a disaster. I think Hollywood Brown could be your returner, honestly. Maybe Mekhi Lemon gets some shots at it. Dontavian Wicks probably gets some shots at it. Jesus Christ, don't put Will Shipley out there. I think you can have a couple different guys be your returner outside of Britton Covey. And then it's just like, I don't want to see Quez Watkins on my field. Johnny Wilson coming off an injury, I don't know. And then, you have some undrafted guys, some, swings. Elijah Moore, I doubt makes this team. very disappointed in how his career never really worked out. He was somebody that I did like coming out of Ole Miss a couple of years ago. I think he was drafted by the Jets and then traded to the Browns, and he just never really, put everything together. Very unfortunate, but I doubt he makes the team. So I gave that 5th spot to Darius Cooper, but obviously Devontae Smith is your number 1 wide receiver. Very excited to see Devontae finally have a chance to be that top number 1 receiver. Never really had the chance before. Oh, but 2021! Shut the hell up. He was a rookie that year, okay? I see people bring that up. I don't know why there's people that are... Number 1, how sad of an Eagles fan you have to be anti-Devontae Smith, okay? Because I've seen this shit. You have people that are like, oh, the last time he was a number 1 receiver, he didn't crack 1,000 yards. No shit, he was a rookie. In his first season, he had Greg Ward and Jalen Reagor on the other side of him, god damn it. No shit, he had like 900 yards as a rookie. And then some people are like, oh, but if he's so good, why did they get A.J. Brown? Because they got a fucking other elite receiver to put with him, and then they went to a Super Bowl and then won another one? Like, I don't understand some people's logic with this shit. Okay, Devontae Smith is a, 6th year veteran now? He is somebody who's been consistently a top 10 to 15 receiver while being that number 2. I think this is somebody that steps into that role and takes that Jackson Smith and Jigba leap, right? That leap into being the number 1 receiver, right? It's up to Devontae now. He absolutely has the talent. This is one of the best route runners in the NFL. This is somebody with exceptional hands, exceptional body control. And guess what? Now, it's not just him trying to win every one-on-one. Guess what? Now, he's going to get schemed open, too. Keep that in mind. This is somebody that now, he can go deep, he can go over the middle of the field, he can go short, he can, pick up yak. Devontae Smith can do everything, okay? You're going to see him cook, okay? Devontae has been sitting here waiting for this opportunity and still putting up 1,000-yard seasons as a number 2 receiver. Still putting up absolutely unbelievable games. Having games where he is the number 1 damn receiver, okay? The fact that, we can just, let's pull up some of his other seasons, okay? 2024 misses a couple games, still puts up 8 touchdowns, 833 yards. 22 puts up damn near 1,200 yards and 7 touchdowns, right? Last year puts up 1,000 yards and 4 touchdowns with a horrible offense, with A.J. Brown bitching and crying when he doesn't get the ball every single game. Remember, there was a point last year where Devontae Smith was on pace for like freaking 1,400 yards at the beginning of the season, okay? Before A.J. Brown put the hit out on him, okay? Devontae Smith is more than capable of 1,500 yards, 10, 11, 12 touchdowns, right? Double-digit touchdowns, 1,500 yards. I am so here for this Devontae Smith number 1 wide receiver agenda. I am so here for it, okay? And then we have other people who are like, oh, AJ's going to take all the double teams. But they don't double team on every single play. Oh, guess who's next to him? Guess who's next to him? Well, obviously there's no stats here, but we have Makai Lemon, the rookie out of USC. Coming into the draft cycle, I loved Makai Lemon a lot. I loved him. I did not think he would be there at 20. Okay, falls a little bit. A lot of it is kind of the size. He is a little bit smaller, and he is primarily going to be a slot wide receiver, but I don't really care. I think this is someone that just reminds me a lot of an Amon-Ra St. Brown, where he's going to be a reception machine. Now, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, he needs to put up 1,800 yards and win Offensive Rookie of the Year. I think Makai Lemon putting in 900 yards as a rookie, 5 touchdowns, but being a consistent slot threat, consistently getting open over the middle of the field, consistently moving the chains, consistently making people miss after the catch. I think he is going to contribute, and I think he'll contribute enough to the point where Devontae doesn't have all of the burden on his shoulders, and both of them are going to actually have moments in this scheme where they're schemed open, where they come in motion, where they get a free release off the line, where they get an easier release, where they manipulate coverage, where they attack weak spots in defenses, and where Jalen Hurts is actually allowed to target them, okay, in holes in the zone, over the middle of the field. I think that's where Mekhi Lemon and Devontae Smith are going to do some damage. They're going to do a lot of damage. Now, I left out the deep part. I know Devontae can go deep, right? He can be also your deep threat, right? Your primary deep threat. There's another deep threat on here. I don't think you have a super duper elite deep threat in this receiver core. Could that be a problem? We will see. A lot of that comes down to Hollywood Brown. We'll get to him in a second. And Devontae Smith being those deep threats. Mekhi Lemon, not the best on the 9 route in college. Not the best, going on those fade balls. Because of the size, kind of where he played in college, was primarily the inside receiver. Could play out on the outside in college. He could. He has had moments. But he's primarily been a slot receiver. And the Eagles, with Jalen Hurts at quarterback, haven't had a super duper elite dedicated slot receiver. Like, obviously AJ was the outside X. Devontae would go inside and outside. They didn't really have somebody who was that dedicated slot threat, and you're going to see that with Mekhi Lemon. I do expect him to be a reception machine. I'm very excited to watch Mekhi Lemon. This is somebody that I loved in college, and especially in this scheme. I think he is someone who can do some serious damage, right? Again, I'm not going to sit here and try to put a ton of expectations on his shoulders, but I think he can be very good next season alongside Devontae. And then I think 3 will be Dontavian Wicks. I went back and I did watch some Wicks today. I think he is a very, very solid third receiver to have on a team, and I think he's somebody that has kind of been underutilized. Comes over, obviously, in a trade, signs an extension for another year, has been in this offense before. Obviously, I mean, it was somebody that Sean Mannion wanted to have. Wicks, solid route runner, has some good possession skills. Last year, made some fantastic catches. The years before that, the hands were a little bit questionable, but if we're going to go off last season, right, didn't get a ton of targets, but somebody that went out there and made some tough catches, right? Like, you see it when you watch him. There's tough catches he makes. Now, he needs to make the routine catches as well. But last year, 30 receptions, 332 yards, 2 touchdowns. I think this is somebody that can come in, put up 400-500 yards, have some key, clutch moments, get a couple touchdowns. But I think more so Wicks is somebody who comes in motion, who, moves the chains on a 2nd and 6 or a third and 5, right? Move the chains, set up another first down. I think that's where Wicks is going to be a very nice asset for this team to have. I don't think he's going to be a focal point, but I think he's somebody that can go short, go over the middle of the field, and move the chains, right? And make a tough catch, and keep a possession going. And go out there and play hard. And I really like that as the third receiver on this team. Just tearing it up over the middle of the field. Wicks probably isn't your most natural separator, but again, you're going to see a lot of people get schemed open this season, and Wicks is somebody that Mannion trusts, and I think he can be a very nice, reliable, chain-moving third option. And then we get to Hollywood Brown. Not going to spend a ton of time on him or Darius Cooper. I think Hollywood Brown will primarily be a deep threat. Maybe see him get some deep balls, but I mean, the Eagles don't really use their 4th and 5th receivers. I know it's a different offense. I do expect the ball to be spread around a lot more, but he's a veteran receiver, has some speed downfield, has struggled with injuries though at times in his career. But if he can go deep, right, that's really all we're asking for out of Hollywood Brown. Be a return man too. Just do enough solid stuff, right? Just do enough solid stuff. And then Darius Cooper had 9 catches last year, didn't crack 100 yards, but somebody can come in and do the dirty work on your offense. But like we were saying earlier, I think this room definitely is good. I think Devontae can be very good and prove himself to be a top 10, dare I say top 5 receiver in the NFL next season. Maybe that's a bold statement. You guys know I don't like to try and, say things like that, but I really think Devontae can do that. I think Mekhi Lemon can be very good in the slot. I think Wicks can be a reliable chain mover. I would really like another deep threat in this room, and that was something I was hoping they would add in the draft in some later rounds, is try to find someone who can be a burner. We'll see how things play out. Anyone comes open. The roster isn't done yet. That's why this isn't like a roster construction video. Would really like to see somebody be able to come in and run a go route, right? Be able to do something like that deep down the field. But obviously, we'll have to wait and see on that. Now we go to the tight end room. Very interesting room right here. Obviously, Dallas Goedert is your tight end 1 still. Returns to the Eagles on a 1-year deal, tied for second on touchdowns. I thought he was first. This might be just everybody with touchdowns. I think he was first last year for touchdowns by tight ends. That was his big selling point last year, was him putting up 11 touchdowns. Absolutely ridiculous. Eli Stowers, the rookie, out of Vanderbilt. And then I think Grant Calcaterra probably makes it as the 3rd tight end. We'll get to him in a second. We'll get there. EJ Jenkins is stuck around on the team, on the practice squad and stuff. Cameron Latu, maybe. Johnny Munt, I've seen some people talk about maybe. And then after that, I just doubt anyone else there really makes the roster. I know some people talked about Daquan Wright, someone who was, I think, undrafted free agent. But I think these 3 probably make the team. We'll get to Calcaterra in a second. But the Eagles usually keep 3 tight ends. Dallas Goedert had a nice season last year. He was a horrible blocker, though. I mean, was some of that the scheme? Maybe. A lot of that was on him. This is somebody who's been a really good 2-way tight end in the NFL pretty much his entire career. I mean, that's what he's made his career on, being a very good receiver and being an outstanding blocker. 2024 was probably the best year that he really exemplified that. Very good season as a receiving tight end, and outstanding as a blocker. And then last year, couldn't block a piece of cardboard. Okay, horrible year blocking. Still put up 591 receiving yards, 11 touchdowns, 60 receptions. Him and Jalen Hurts obviously have a great connection. Hurts trusts Dallas Goedert a lot. I think Goedert will be somebody who probably won't get a ton of shine, but he's going to get his catches, he's going to get his yards, he's going to get his receptions, and he's just always been a reliable player for the Eagles, just pretty much his entire career. I mean, he's been pretty consistently good. He took a pay cut to come back here. We love Dallas Goedert. Okay, we love him. This guy took a pay cut to come back to Philadelphia. We love him. We love him. If you look at his career, 600 yards, 500. He had 800 in 2021. I think you could see, a 600-700 yard season out of Dallas Goedert. He's going to get his moments where he's open. He's going to, have those mismatches. He's still a big target. He is 31. Okay. Will be 32 at the end of the season. Definitely starting to get on that wrong side of 30. But I still think he can be a very good contributor. I did see, some tight end lists and some Eagles fans that were mad that Goedert wasn't listed as like a top 10 tight end on a lot of lists. And I mean, I'm sorry. I know he put up a ton of touchdowns last year, but his blocking was horrible. It was horrible last year. It was really bad. And he has to be a better blocker. I would expect him to be that. Maybe last year was just an outlier, and I really hope so, because seeing Dallas Goedert struggle to block people made me want to cry. Okay, him coming back, I love him. Always been one of my favorite Eagles. I think he can still be a great receiver out there, and still a great, consistent, reliable threat on the field. But probably this year, I mean, he floated retirement. This probably is the last season of Dallas Goedert. Which is why the Eagles went into the second round. And I was surprised by this. I wanted them to take a tight end. They hadn't done it over the past couple of years. I had been yelling and screaming to draft a goddamn tight end for the last fucking 4 or 5 years. I've been screaming about this because the tight end room would be Dallas Goedert and a bunch of morons who can't block, okay, and can't catch and can't do anything. So I'm so glad they actually went out and drafted a 23-year-old tight end who won the damn Mackey Award last year. Arguably the best tight end in the country last year. Now, I know he wasn't, right? I know somebody else went ahead of him, okay? But damn it, Eli Stowers was really good last season. Exceptional receiver. Exceptional. I would expect maybe doesn't get a ton of catches next year, but he's going to be somebody that you go back and watch the film on and you're like, oh, that boy, nice. Like, I think he is somebody that can come out there on the field. If they just want him to be a designated receiving tight end, goddamn, he can do it, because Stowers is still developing as a blocker. That was his biggest knock coming into the NFL. It's why he was a second-round tight end. Right? Not the greatest blocker. He tries, though. He does try. He is somebody who I think switched to tight end 2 years ago, maybe 3. He is still learning the tight end position, and he is developing as a blocker, right? Still. So I don't know if he's going to be a two-way tight end immediately. But as a receiver, Eli Stowers is a monster. He's a freak athlete. He's 6'4", 235, moves incredibly well, very fast, very good route runner. He's a big slot receiver, right? And that's something that I think can bode very well on this team. I think that's something that Jalen Hurts is really going to like throwing to. I think this is somebody that can get a ton of catches over the middle of the field next season and be a thorn in the side of other teams. I don't expect him to have an absolute, like, oh my god, like, wow, the NFL should not have let him fall to this point, because I don't think he's going to get those same opportunities. Kind of like a Sam Laporta a couple of years ago, who I really liked, and then was drafted to the Lions, and it was like, oh, shit, we all screwed up. Everybody should have drafted. Like, if you do a redraft of 2023, Sam Laporta goes in the first round, right? It might go top 15 in that draft. So he's been really good in the NFL. I don't know if it's going to be like that, because he has Dallas Goedert in front of him, Devontae Smith, Mekhi Lemon. He has other receiving threats in front of him, but when he gets his opportunities, I'm very excited to see what Stowers can do. I'm very excited for him. I didn't expect the Eagles to draft him. Really liked him. Really excited for him. And then we get something I'm not excited for. If you go back and watch last year, Grant Calcaterra was really bad. 9 catches for 76 yards and a touchdown. I just don't think there's anybody else that would make the team over him, especially because he's been on the team, right? He played with Hurts in college. Calcaterra's had his moments as a receiver too, but man, he can't block for shit. Okay, he can't block. If you want to go back and watch blown run plays from last season, just watch Grant Calcaterra try to block, because he can't. He gets pile driven on every single play. And I don't want to be mean to him, because he was a 6th round pick. He was almost a 7th round pick. I'm not going to sit here and utterly trash somebody that, shouldn't have expectations like this. I just really hope he doesn't I really hope he doesn't see the field. Okay. I think he still makes the team because he's been on the team, but I mean, I don't really have much else to say. Can he come in and be a solid receiver here and there? Yeah. Am I happy that we have Eli Stowers as the second tight end instead of Calcaterra? Yeah. Do I wish Calcaterra could block? Yeah. So, you know, that's really all I have to say on Grant. I've complained about Grant Calcaterra and Will Shipley so much over the last year that I just can't keep doing it anymore, because I feel like I'm attacking people that I shouldn't be. And then we go to the starting offensive line. It's the same thing as last year. Jordan Mailata at left tackle, Landon Dickerson at left guard, Cam Jurgens at center, Tyler Steen at right guard, and Lane Johnson returning at right tackle. This core was brutalized by injury last season. Landon Dickerson played the entire season on one knee. Cam Jurgens' back was blown out on him the entire season. Lane Johnson was hurt at times. Jordan Mailata was probably hurt too. Who the hell knows? But coming out of the Super Bowl run, the way that offensive line played in that Super Bowl run was taxing, and they didn't have the same amount of time to recover. And, you know, Dickerson and Jurgens were both beat to hell in that Super Bowl, in that NFC Championship, in all those. Everybody on this line was beat to hell because of the season they put up. 2024, that offensive line was ridiculous, okay? So you come into last season, and these guys have been through the trenches. They are the trenches. They've been through the damn trenches. You also lose Jeff Stoutland. Very brutal loss right there. We still don't 100% know, like, what his role is now, I don't think. Obviously, the run game is going to look a lot different now. I think it's going to help everybody a lot more. I don't think you're going to see Mailata and Lane have to be out on islands as much. It's going to look different for this offensive line. I need them to stay healthy, because if these guys can stay healthy, this is one of the best units in football. Obviously, Jordan Mailata, I mean, if you're a PFF Glazer, Jordan Mailata is like the #1 ranked player on PFF every single year, or he's in the top 5 or the top 10 or whatever. Obviously, on the field, unreal run blocker. Jordan Mailata is just an unreal run blocker. He's very big and very tall. He can get exposed by speed rushers in pass protection, but most of the time, Jordan Mailata is absolutely outstanding. And regardless of all that, this is one of the best tackles in football. And then Landon Dickerson, when he's healthy, is one of the best guards in football, bar none. This is a all-pro left guard. Small problem. His body has been ravaged by injuries, not just in the... He's been pretty healthy in the NFL, really until the end of the Super Bowl run and last season. He's been healthy in the NFL, but man, he was beat to hell in college. Landon Dickerson, you know, early in the offseason, there was the report of him considering retirement. I think he plays through the rest of his contract, and then I wouldn't be surprised if he retired after that. His body's been through a lot. They need him back and healthy, because last year, you know, he was just getting blown off the line on pretty much every play. Him and Cam Jurgens, I mean, I'll just bundle them both together and talk about both of them here. I love Landon Dickerson a lot. I love the way he plays. I love how he leads on this team. And I give him nothing but respect for going out there last season after a knee surgery and with a bad ankle and still trying to play. But, I mean, it was at the point where he and Jurgens couldn't move, especially near the middle and the end of the season. They couldn't do anything, and it hurt the team. So it's getting Landon Dickerson back healthy, and it's getting Cam Jurgens back healthy. I really didn't like the contract extension on Jurgens. I was never a big fan of I don't want to sound like a revisionist, but you can go check my thoughts and stuff. Was never the biggest fan of him. Wasn't a big fan of him when he played. He was really bad at right guard when he played it in 2023. I thought in 24, he was a good center. I don't think he's a top 10 center in the NFL. I'm sorry. I didn't like the contract they gave him. Really didn't like the back injuries. He's somebody that's really struggled with injury in the NFL, but when he's out there, he's still a good center. Like, by no means is he bad, okay? If he's healthy and out there, he can be a good NFL starting center, okay? The scheme's going to look different. Hopefully things are easier on him. Hopefully he can stay healthy. But if he's out there, he's still good, okay? It's a center. You don't have to have a Jason Kelce to have a dominant offensive line, okay? 2024, Jurgens was good. I didn't think he was elite. I wasn't the biggest fan of him, and they won the Super Bowl, okay? So it's getting Jurgens back healthy and getting him back at near a Pro Bowl level. Because my lot is a first-team All-Pro type of guy. Landon Dickerson can be too, and Lane Johnson, obviously, is a Hall of Famer. So we can get to Tyler Steen at right guard. I think Tyler Steen's fine. I think he's a fine starting player. He's somebody that gets a lot of shit. He's fine. He's a fine run blocker. He's a fine pass protector. He's fine, right? You don't need everybody on this offensive line to be a Hall of Famer. I think Steen's fine. I thought he was fine last year. I think he's going to be fine again this year as a starter. I think he's fine. And then we get to our last player. And again, somebody that doesn't need a 10-minute explanation. It's Lane Johnson, one of the best in the business. Getting him back healthy next season is obviously the goal because he's still elite. The impact Lane Johnson has on this team is ridiculous. Elite pass protector, elite run blocker, Hall of Famer, leader of Ben, somebody that I would run through a wall for, still getting it done at 36 years old, probably one of his last seasons as an Eagle. It's a damn shame he can't play forever because it's been an honor to watch Lane Johnson. But essentially, that rounds out the offensive line. If these guys are healthy again next season, that's the big if. This is one of the best offensive lines in football. Dallas Goedert and Eli Stowers can be a very good combo. I think this can be a good receiver room with an elite number one. Obviously, you have a MVP type of candidate running back. And you have a quarterback in Jalen Hurts that has a Super Bowl MVP that can be and has had many moments in the NFL where he's been a top 5 quarterback, top 10 quarterback, has played at an elite level. You have a very good team right here. Bringing in a new system that can make things easier. I think this can be a very different offense than it has in the past couple seasons where Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, and A.J. Brown don't have to do absolutely everything. I think you see the ball spread around a lot more. I think you see a lot of guys contributing to this. I think you see numbers spread out a lot more. But I still think the top dogs on this team are the top dogs. Jalen Hurts, Saquon, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, Lane Johnson. The top guys on this team will continue to be the top guys. And I do expect this to end up being a top 10 offense in football last year and among the elites in the NFL at season's end. But those are just my thoughts. What do you guys think of the Eagles offense next season? Where do you think it'll rank? Who are you most excited to see in this offense? I'm excited to see Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith go out there and cook. Let me know all that down below in the comments. On your way out, hit the like button for me, the sub button, the post notifications. Love you guys. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye, guys.